hosted the soup for us.
I do, vaguely.
Yeah, it was an amazing day. Jay came in. He hosted the soup. Joel's kid actually was.
It's like having a
surgery.
Japanese wife with this kid.
Yeah, no, it was astounding.
He's two
Jay
steps
goes
behind you, quiet, only speaks when spoken to. Thank you.
Jay came in. We brought him in like an hour early to read prompter. He read like 3 words on prompter. And he was like, I got it. Let's just fucking do this. I read the script last night. So then we start rolling the show. You made it through prompter without stopping, but also because you didn't know what to do with Jackson and you brought him along with you, you just had him walk in circles around you while you hosted the show. I got to send you the tape of this. I've watched it. Every time a joke really landed, you just drop your hand down and Jackson, you just see Jackson come up and high five you like Lipnicki's head. Yeah, like Lipnicki's head going behind the couch and Jerry Maguire was just this little, yeah, we got that one, right? It was fucking hysterical.
But he's so well behaved. Like, he's a guy you can go, I need you. This is going to take 40 minutes. I need you to just walk in circles. And you go, okay. Yeah. Like, boys are easy. You can trick them. And I say this on stage all the time. Like, Daddy, can we watch TV? We don't have a TV. Okay. Like, you're watching TV when you tell this tiny moron, not mine, other people with kids that are more, that like they think it's a magic window. Mm-hmm. And then the other boy is still running downstairs when the other one gets the news that you no longer have television. So he turns around and they collide, they knock themselves out, which means you can now smoke grass and play Madden for an hour.
That's right. It's the only way to get through the day.
Has Sophia asked you about using drugs?
No, not yet. But you know what? I got a plan. She hates spicy foods. Like, she can't stand. She likes anything with any kind of spice in it, chili, whatever. She just freaks out. So I'm just going to go drugs or spicy. See how long I can get.
There's the name of the fucking show. That's what he's doing. So you're from Minnesota, which we discussed. Were you friends with Hedberg?
Oh, yes.
Attell, by the way, I didn't realize was like friends with Hedberg.
Yeah.
Attell had like these alarmingly sweet stories of driving from like Stockton to San Francisco with like Hedberg in a car. His story was everyone was on that drug and he was just drunk and on coke.
Yeah.
And so it was 2 separate worlds, but he was the only one in his world. And they're all like, look, a bridge to where? A bridge to anywhere. And he's like, how about a bridge to shut the fuck up? Like, he's just cranky and grinding his teeth in the back, and they're all tripping balls and shooting fucking speed into their legs.
Fuck. Working with Mitch, like I knew Mitch for a long time. We knew each other since basically, a later form of childhood because we grew up kind of around each other at the same time and we're at the same, like teen club stuff. So yeah, he was always. He was the interesting thing about Mitch.
Did you say teen club?
Yeah, like those they have
4-H stuff and
like those bars that they there's no alcohol here, so teenagers can come here and they all drink in the fucking parking lot and then go and run into each other and stuff. They had them in all these little mall areas in the outskirts of Minneapolis.
So you guys knew each other.
I saw that guy around the way from time to time. We wound up in different kinds of conversations, and then obviously he took off for Florida. One of my all-time great early Hedberg jokes was I meant to go to Texas, but my alignment was off.
Was he always a front man? Like when you saw him at those teen places?
Yeah, no, he was always just off in that world. But the interesting thing about Mitch is as opposed to
drugs.
Yeah, as opposed to I think. I mean, I assume we were all some version of high or drunk because it was 17, 18, 16, 17, 18, that age range. But the interesting thing about him was that of all the kind of iconoclastic personalities that and that you meet, they're not often very inviting people. Really, really people that you go, oh yeah, God, this guy he fucking actually likes knowing me. Yeah. But that was Mitch's. I remember Mitch and I would do stuff. We didn't get to work that much together as stand-ups because we were at, kind of the same level coming up. We were middle acts at the same time. He was, bouncing around, I think, Seattle and Florida and stuff, but would come back to Minneapolis.
Big bounce.
Yeah, and it was Mitch. And I was, primarily out of Minneapolis. And then by the time we moved to LA, we got one great week where we got to work together in Vegas. That was astounding at the Riviera because our families were coming in later on in the week, but we just fucking tore it up. And we were just like, the second we woke up in the morning, down to the bar, and then, dropping something and going wandering around the city and everything. And it was such an amazing because, you'd say anything. And granted, the guy's high, but again, it's like usually that type of personality becomes more introverted with more success.
Told me you guys were tripping balls on LSD.
Yeah, and he would do stuff like, we dropped.
You tried to do comedy.
Yeah, but before I get to that,
sorry.
it would be like you'd be walking around and you'd just go, wow, look at the fucking Bellagio blowing up, man, or the volcano outside the Mirage blowing up. That thing's and he'd go, oh man, KP Anderson just said that, and he'd write it down. And he'd go, this is the fucking greatest thing. And then you like at the end of the week when it's all over with, you go, oh, well, not good. We drove back to LA together, and then we didn't see each other for a while. And I'd go, oh, that's probably the last I've heard from Mitch for a while. And then I'd get a letter from him that had like all of the shit that I said that made him laugh while we were in the thing, and a picture of us together that he had someone take somewhere along the way. And you just go, wow, that's not comics. Comics don't fucking do that. No, I didn't do that. I didn't like.
Deep. That's like what you do for an intervention.
Yeah.
These are all the great times that we have had that I missed. Yeah, I missed being at the volcano.
It was like
there was a man that smiled outside the fountains. Yeah. Where is he? Here we are in a happier time.
Yeah, and it was like a reverse intervention. It was like we clearly need to do more drugs together. but he was but yeah, so we one day we dropped it was mushrooms. We took mushrooms and we were out on the streets rolling around. We took them early enough in the day. It was like, 2:00 in the afternoon that we thought we'd be fine by showtime, and we just fucking weren't.
Those of you that don't know, mushrooms is pretty much a full day.
Yeah.
It's Monday, Tuesday.
Somehow we had done so much to ourselves and been fine by showtime all day, but it was like Wednesday or Thursday, and my brother and sister-in-law were flying in, and his whole family were flying in, so we knew we would like have to be separated for the weekend. Oh, excuse me. So I got up on stage and I was just tripping, and it was all I could do to just go set up, punchline, laugh, set up, punchline, laugh. But instead it would go set up, punchline, laugh, and then you'd hear from the back of the room, oh man, KP Anderson is tripping on mushrooms in Las Vegas. Set up, punchline, laugh. Oh man, KP Anderson is tripping. And then at the end of the show, I walk up and I go, why were you fucking saying that? And he goes, I was saying that out loud.
Oh my God. He should have said, I didn't say it aloud, and you would have went, oh man, I'm way higher. I read your mind.
Were you?
They always say, I was going to ask you, like, how old were you when you experimented with drugs? And then I realized I hate that expression. My wife said to me, she goes, I always picture people in like fucking lab coats and goggles with like beakers, like rolling a joint, No, then I dove head first into feeling great in a chair.
Yeah.
I smoked a joint at the beach house with 7 other guys, and then I couldn't get up.
Yeah,
and I realized this is for me.
Yeah, the experimentation generally comes after taking the drugs. Figuring out how long you can sit through this or do that, or it was. I guess I was like,
I got to interrupt you. That's an incredible statement. Yeah. The experimentation happens after you take the drugs.
Yeah, because you know what's going to happen when you take the drugs. You're going to get all fucked up.
Wow, that was a big one.
I just blew your mind, didn't I?
My mind was blown. Sweet. Why do you think it is? Do you think these guys are born addicts, and it's just a matter of time until they get the right stuff in them where it's just there's no taking the train off the rails?
I don't know, man. It's such a weird thing. Like
you did mushrooms, and I'm like, you didn't say this, but I'll just say it. Like hypothetically, you do mushrooms, coke, and you drop an axe, and you're drinking your cock. I know you're a Jack Daniels guy. Yeah. With another person who eventually dies of a drug overdose.
Yeah.
No, but you're just a family man now. Like, why are you able? What is it about guys or people? And you're not a 12-step guy. Yeah. You're not a guy that quit. Like you, I was at a Kings game with you. You had your Jack and Coke.
Clearly, I wasn't quitting.
Right. Like, what is it? Like some guys, and despite everyone around them going, you have to stop.
I have no idea, man.
You never opened your eyes on Letterman.
Yeah. No. My. And even beyond Mitch. Like, there's the other people we knew of that Geraldo and people like that I wasn't that close with Greg, but my dad died on, booze had a lot to do with why my dad died. So even taking it in that direction. And I think it's just like as much a chemical wiring as anything. I saw this really weird
pre-birth wiring.
Yeah, did you see Bill Murray on the Joy Behar show on CNN a couple months back?
No, what a weird
really
pairing.
Weird. She was asking him about
Two
Belushi.
very angry people.
Yeah. She was asking him about Belushi, and he goes, the thing with Johnny is he was a bad sleeper. It had nothing to do. It wasn't the stuff that he had taken. It was the fact that he had that sleep apnea and everything else, and he just he just dropped out due to that. And I'm like, God, I hope I never become the person. Like, I don't want to spend any significant chunk of my life. Like, I've turned down every time they call from E and go, hey, we're doing some Boulevard of Broken Dreams. We want to talk about Mitch or this. I don't want to spend. I'll talk to you about it, and because I trust you to have an engaged conversation about it, and not edit it down to something that makes it sound like I'm. We were all so worried about my friend.
It's like you, Sherrod Smalls, Lonnie Love, and like a midget dancing over footage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I love the '90s parentheses Mitch.
Yeah, well, and they do that stuff, and it's just like it's such a strange, like, drugs were a part of his life, and ultimately his life was ended because of at that rate. His physical health had degraded to a place where he couldn't handle the amounts of drugs he was taking. I would assume. I never bothered to read a coroner's report. I don't know. I just know that he
gangrene in his leg, didn't he?
Yeah, he had some serious issues along the way, and at the same time, as you know, because we both have friends and I think that people in our lives and our families will treat us this way sometimes, is just like there's that point where you see a performer, and a really intelligent performer and a really gifted performer acting in some way that you go, well, if I try to put a curb on that, are they going to lose that edge that makes them what they are? Are they going to feel like themselves anymore? And that's not by way of excusing seeing Mitch go down a certain road and nobody, and it not being fixed. But I know the people that were close to Mitch at that point in time, and I know all of them expressed concern. I know all of them did stuff to try to get Mitch to see, some sort of, oh fuck, this is going this way. But I honestly believe that there's just certain people in this life who are just they're gonna hit that corner, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it. There's very little you can do to slow someone down who's decided that this is the way they want to live, and at some level, whether it's completely conscious of it or not, have decided that have come to some form of grips that this is probably the way they're going to die.
It's interesting that you say, like, if this person stops doing what they're doing, there's that fear, are they going to be as funny? Yeah. And it's like that, you see that a lot with, like, obese comics. Mm-hmm. You go, is this person really not losing the weight because they're afraid at 202? Yeah. They're not going to be able to go, yeah, I see y'all looking at me, big fat ass up here. Yeah, that's like, I'll come roll over on that table. Like, all their, like, that fat chunk that they have of their material. Yeah. Like, does that go away? Like, is Horatio Sands less funny now that he's thin?
Yeah. John Panette has gone, I don't even know where he's at on that scale right now, but he's battled the weight, been funny, skinny, and I think he's gained the weight. I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest with you.
But I think John's got a whole other group of things. He's got a different corner that we spoke of.
Yeah, yes. But it's like my dad, by way of example, one of the last conversations I had with my dad was in Minneapolis, where we had been home for a weekend. I had my daughter there, I had my wife there, and he was on his best behavior. He had big problems with drinking and his behavior, and he was on his best behavior all weekend long. And as we were leaving, I said, Dad, look at this. This was a great weekend. You were fun to be around. We had fun together. Nobody felt uncomfortable handing you the baby. All that stuff. Like, all you got to do is keep doing that, and life can be great. And he went, I'm not going to lie to you, kid. I'll be on a bender before your wheels up on the way out of here. I've been holding it together as best I can. And you go, well, at least it's honest. Yeah. Like, what am I supposed to do beyond that place? And there are people who go, well, then you throw him in a car and you drive him to rehab. Well, my dad fucking walked home 3 times from rehab. So what are you supposed to do about it after a certain,
You will love this joke because you love my wife. My wife and you have a weird thing. Mm-hmm. She loves you and you love her. She said, you can lead a, we were watching Intervention. She goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him not drink.
And that's it.
Your dad, if you don't mind, and we can tap this out at any time if you don't want to get into this. Your dad had a super interesting way of going about it. Your family had a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
And your dad would like pack